If you had, and here's the biggest thing of what can change your life and the shame that you process. If you had or can create a safe, non-judgmental space for yourself, completely safe and non-judgmental for yourself in your life, first with you, then with your family or whatever's around you, then you are doing more now to be able to tell your story and for the first time in your life be met with acceptance and compassion than rejection and judgment. And when you are met in that place for the first time in your life with acceptance and compassion instead of rejection and judgment, you now start to realize you have nothing to feel ashamed for. You have nothing to feel afraid of. You have nothing to judge and hold yourself for, because all it is just a past experience. All it is just a past story. All it is also just an expectation that someone else had of you, whether they wanted you to like follow a certain religion, act a certain way, choose a certain like sexual preference, look a certain way with your body. You'll be surprised how many of my clients have such heavy body dysmorphia where they can't even see themselves, look at themselves in the mirror, and forget even look at themselves in the mirror and smile. They can't even look at themselves in the mirror because they're so ashamed of their body. And you think that's their shame to carry? No. That shame is an expectation that their families or friends or people around them, especially when they're young, kept having of them. You have to look a certain way. You have to fit into this like box for you to be loved by society. You know, the thing about media and magazines and all of that shit is they're just things. They're just things. But what makes those things so like painful to us is the way people take that, process it, and then make us internalize it. So then they look at a picture of a certain someone and be like, oh, you don't look like that? Sorry, you don't fit in my world. I mean, if your own family and the people are supposed to accept you the way you fucking are don't have the capability to hold space for you to be and be loved just as you are, how do you expect or believe that anyone else in your world can do that? And so if you believe that story long enough and you absorb that story for long enough, then you start repeating that story on your own. And that is what the subconscious mind does. The subconscious mind is like a sponge. And the subconscious mind was actually, here's a piece of neuroscience for you, it was predominantly active between the ages of 0 and 5 and 5 to 18. And it was like a sponge, which is why kids can fucking learn languages like this, because their subconscious mind is like constantly absorbing shit. A kid can literally go from not being able to like turn over or even roll onto their belly to fucking running. So imagine that's how much they have to learn and move forward in such a short period of time. But that also means everything else in their environment can also be learned. And so if people are constantly shaming you or constantly projecting their opinions on you or constantly, and they may not even know they're doing that. They may think they're doing what's best for you. They may think they're telling you what's best for you because they don't see you just as you are. They see you as what they want you to be. And if you don't fit into that category of what they want you to be, then they're going to have to keep forcing you and pushing you this way. And what's the best way to do that? To shame you into changing. And until you actually see that little version of you and you learn to show up for them and give them that safe, loving, beautiful, non-judgmental space, and you learn to love them for who they really are, I promise you, until you do that, you will be carrying this shame. But if you learn to do that, I can promise you equally that you will start to learn with such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sense of freedom and joy and love, which now starts to show up in your relationships. Now you're so not sensitive to all the bullshit from everybody else. You don't get triggered by all the other stuff that comes around you. And more than anything else, you empower yourself to choose the best relationships instead of the relationships that will just repeat the same fucking shame cycle that you've been living in and telling yourself. You know what's so fucking crazy about inner child conditioning is that if we're so used to rejection and shame and abandonment, and we believe that of ourselves, we will attract a world that continuously shows it back to ourselves. Why? So that we can continue to believe in it. This is a principle of the brain. It's what the brain does to basically reprove its beliefs to itself. It's confirmation bias, where it will continuously look for things it can confirm to itself so that it can prove those beliefs to itself. And it's biased in believing that, including negative things, especially negative things. And so if you don't learn to change and heal yourself and reprove those beliefs, you will keep believing the old things. But if you learn to heal your mind and your subconscious by now creating these new beliefs and choose to believe this, now your brain will keep moving forward to look at these new beliefs. And so it'll keep moving forward to attract that into their lives and also repeat those kind of those situations or circumstances that prove that they are lovable, they are valuable, because that's what the subconscious mind does. Did you know that everything you're doing today right now is basically just a repetition of most of the things that you've learned to believe before you the age of 18? And research actually shows that after the age of 35, you literally repeat 95% of your actions, your reactions, your behaviors, all in just different packages for the rest of your life. So if you want to change that, you can't just say, oh, today I'm going to change it. You have to go back to like revisit and love that version of you and then learn to change it. Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.